Summary of the E-Myth Revisited by Michael E. Gerber. Contrary to popular belief, my experience has shown me that the people who are exceptionally good in business aren't so because of what they know, but because of their insatiable need to know more. And so the great ones I have known seem to possess an intuitive understanding that the only way to reach something higher is to focus their attention on the multitude of seemingly insignificant, unimportant, and boring things that make up every business. What makes people work is an idea worth working for, along with a clear understanding of what needs to be done. If you are greedy, your employees will be greedy, giving you less and less of themselves and always asking for more. So if your business is to change, as it must continuously to thrive, you must change first. The E-myth is the myth of the entrepreneur. The technical work of a business and a business that does that technical work are two totally different things. The engineer goes into the semiconductor business. The musician opens up a music store. All of them believing that by understanding the technical work of the business, they are immediately and eminently qualified to run a business that does that kind of work. And it's simply not true. In fact, rather than being their greatest single asset, knowing the technical work of their business becomes their greatest single liability. Suddenly, the job he knew how to do so well becomes one job he knows how to do, plus a dozen others he doesn't know how to do at all. Because although the entrepreneurial seizure started the business, it's the technician who goes to work. And suddenly, an entrepreneurial dream turns into a technician's nightmare. The problem is that everybody who goes into business is actually three people in one: the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician. It's not that we're indecisive or unreliable. It's that each and every one of us is a whole set of different personalities, each with his own interests and way of doing things. The entrepreneur is the visionary in us, the dreamer. The entrepreneur lives in the future, never in the past, rarely in the present. He's happiest when left free to construct images of what if and if when. The managerial personality is pragmatic. Without the manager, there would be no planning, no order, no predictability. Where the entrepreneur craves control, the manager craves order. The manager builds a house and then lives in it forever. The entrepreneur builds a house, and the instant it's done, begins planning the next one. It is the tension between the entrepreneur's vision and the manager's pragmatism that creates the synthesis from which all great works are born. The technician is the doer. If you want it done right, do it yourself, is the technician's credo. Things aren't supposed to be dreamt about, they're supposed to be done. If the entrepreneur lives in the future and the manager lives in the past, the technician lives in the present. To the manager, then, the technician becomes a problem to be managed. To the technician, the manager becomes a meddler to be avoided. To both of them, the entrepreneur is the one who got them into trouble in the first place. It is self-evident that business, like people, are supposed to grow, and with growth comes change. Unfortunately, most businesses are not run according to this principle. Instead, most businesses are operated according to what the owner wants, as opposed to what the business needs. Let's take a look at the three phases of a business's growth: infancy, adolescence, and maturity. If you want to work in a business, get a job in somebody else's business, but don't go to work in your own. Because while while you're answering the telephone, while you're baking pies, while you're cleaning the windows and the floors, while you're doing it, there's something much more important that isn't getting done. And it's the work you're not doing, the strategic work, the entrepreneurial work that will lead your business forward, that will give you the life you've not yet known. If your business depends on you, you don't own a business, you have a job. The purpose of going into business is to get free of a job so you can create jobs for other people. Adolescence begins at the point in the life of your business when you decide to get some help. There's no telling how soon this will happen, but it always happens precipitated by a crisis in the infancy stage. Drastic change creates an estrangement from the self and generates a need for a new birth of a new identity. And it perhaps depends on the way this need is satisfied, whether the process of change runs smoothly or is attended with convulsions and explosions. As a business grows, it invariably exceeds its owner's ability to control it, to touch, feel, and see the work that needs to be done, and to inspect its progress personally as every technician needs to do. Getting small again, one of the most consistent and predictable reactions of the technician turned business owner to adolescent chaos is the decision to get small again. If you can't control the chaos, get rid of it. They go back to being the owner, sole proprietor, chief cook, and bottle washer, doing everything that needs to be done, all alone, but comfortable with the feeling of regained control. You don't own a business, you own a job. You can't close it when you want to, because if it's closed, you don't get paid. You can't sell it when you want to, because who wants to buy a job? For when the dream is gone, the only thing left is work. The tyranny of the routine, the day-to-day grind of purposeless activity. Going for broke, the adolescent business has another alternative that is certainly less painful and decidedly more dramatic than getting small. It can just keep growing faster and faster until it self-destructs of its own momentum. Going for broke is the high-tech equivalent of Russian roulette, oftentimes played by people who don't even know the gun is loaded. Adolescent survival, the most tragic possibility of all for an adolescent business, is that it actually survives. And you know there's only one way to do it. You've got to be there, all the time. In adolescent survival, you're consumed by the business and the possibility of losing it. And so you put everything you have into it. It didn't need to happen. There is a better way. And most of us learn eventually, if for no other reason than because we realize that we can't be everywhere at once, to trust again. But trust can only take us so far. Because true trust comes from knowing, not from blind faith. And to know, one must understand. And to understand, one must have an intimate awareness of what conditions are truly present. How big can your business naturally become with the operative word being naturally? Because whatever size that is, any limitation you place on its growth is unnatural, shaped not by the market or by your lack of capital, even though that may play a part, but by your own personal limitations, your lack of skill, knowledge, and experience, and most of all, passion for growing a healthy, functionally dynamic, extraordinary business. In this regard, getting small is, rather than an intentional act, a reaction to the pain and fear induced by uncontrolled and uncontrollable growth, both of which could have been anticipated, provided the owner had been prepared to facilitate the growth in a balanced, healthy, proactive way. In short, Businesses that get small again die. They literally implode upon themselves. Simply put, your job is to prepare yourself and your business for growth. It's up to you to dictate your business's rate of growth as best you can by understanding the key processes that need to be performed, the key objectives that need to be achieved, the key position you are aiming your business to hold in the marketplace. If you don't articulate it, write it down clearly so that others can understand it, you don't own it. Because in the process of defining the future, the plan begins to shape itself to reality, both the reality of the world out there and the reality you are able to create in here. A mature company is started differently than all the rest. A mature company is founded on a broader perspective, an entrepreneurial perspective, a more intelligent point of view. About building a business that works not because of you, but without you. And because it starts that way, it is more likely to continue that way. And therein resides the true difference between an adolescent company where everything is left up to chance and a mature company where there is a vision against which the present is shaped. Therefore, maturity is not an inevitable result of the first two phases. It is not the end product of a serial process, beginning with infancy and moving through adolescence. No, companies like McDonald's, Federal Express, and Disney didn't end up as mature companies. They started out that way. It's his perspective that makes the difference, his entrepreneurial perspective. It tells us that the very best businesses are fashioned after a model of a business that works. It tells us that it is the entrepreneurial perspective that says it's not the commodity or the work itself that is important. What's important is the business, how it looks, how it acts, how it does what it is intended to do. The entrepreneurial perspective asks the question, how must the business work? The technician's perspective asks, what work has to be done? The entrepreneurial perspective starts with a picture of a well-defined future and then comes back to the present with the intention of changing it to match the vision. The entrepreneurial perspective adopts a wider, more expansive scale. It views the business as a network of seamlessly integrated components, each contributing to some larger pattern that comes together in such a way as to produce a specifically planned result, a systematic way of doing business. What exactly is the entrepreneurial model? It's a model of a business that fulfills the perceived needs of a specific segment of customers in an innovative way. When the entrepreneur creates the model, he surveys the world and asks, where is the opportunity? Having identified it, he then goes back to the drawing board and constructs a solution to the frustrations he finds among a certain group of customers. A solution in the form of a business that looks and acts in a very specific way, the way the customer needs it to look and act, not the entrepreneur. To the entrepreneur, the business is the product. To the technician, the product is what he delivers to the customer. To the technician, the customer is always a problem. To the entrepreneur, however, the customer is always an opportunity. Because the entrepreneur knows that within the customer is a continuing parade of changing wants begging to be satisfied. In short, for this business model of ours to work, it must be balanced and inclusive so that the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician all find their natural place within it, so that they all find the right work to do. Turning the key. The business format franchise under this system, the franchisor licenses the right to small companies to market its nationally known products locally. The business format franchise not only lends its name to the smaller enterprise, but it also provides the franchisee with an entire system of doing business. And in that difference lies the true significance of the turn the key revolution and its phenomenal success. Because the business format franchise is built on the belief that the true product of a business is not what it sells, but how it sells it. The true product of a business is the business itself. A systems-dependent business, not a people-dependent business. A business that could work without him. Unlike most small business owners before him and since, Ray Kroc went to work on his business, not in it. The success of the business format franchise is without question the most important news in business. Over the course of 1 year, business format franchises have reported a success rate of 95%, in contrast to the 50+% failure rate of new independently owned businesses. The system isn't something you bring to the business. It's something you derive from the process of building the business. The franchise prototype is the answer to the perpetual question, how do I give my customer what he wants while maintaining control of the business that's giving it to him? To the manager, the franchise prototype provides the order, the predictability, the system so important to this life. To the technician, the prototype is a place in which he is free to do the things he loves to do, technical work. And to the small business owner, the franchise prototype provides the means through which he can finally feed his 3 personalities in a balanced way while creating a business that works. The franchise prototype is the model of a business that works. The balanced model that will satisfy the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician all at once. Because after all, that's all that any business format franchise really is. It is a proprietary way of doing business that successfully and preferentially differentiates every extraordinary business from every one of its competitors. In this light, every great business in the world is a franchise. The point is, your business is not your life. Your business and your life are 2 totally separate things. At its best, your business is something apart from you, rather than a part of you, with its own rules and its own purposes. Once you recognize that the purpose of your life is not to serve your business, but that the primary purpose of your business is to serve your life, you can then go to work on your business rather than in it. Pretend that the business you own or want to own is the prototype or will be the prototype for 5,000 more just like it. That your business is going to serve as the model for 5,000 more just like it. How do we understand it? I would suggest that value is what people perceive it to be and nothing more. So what could your prototype do that would not only provide consistent value to your customers, employees, suppliers, and lenders, but would provide it beyond their wildest expectations? This is the question every entrepreneur must ask. How can I give my customer the results he wants systematically rather than personally? Put another way, how can I create a business whose results are systems dependent rather than people dependent? It's been said, and I believe it to be true, that great businesses are not built by extraordinary people, but by ordinary people doing extraordinary things. It is literally impossible to produce a consistent result in a business that depends on extraordinary people. Because every extraordinary business knows that when you intentionally build your business around the skills of ordinary people, you will be forced to ask the difficult questions about how to produce a result without the extraordinary ones. A life lacking in comprehensive structure is an aimless wreck. How to do it guide. It designates the purpose of the work, specifies the steps needed to be taken while doing that work, and summarizes the standards associated with both the process and the result. Your prototype would not be a model without one. What you do in your model is not nearly as important as doing what you do the same way each and every time. Believe it or not, the colors and shapes of your model can make or break your business. The colors you show your customer must be scientifically determined and then used throughout your model. Go to work on your business rather than in it. Go to work on your business as if it were the pre-production prototype of a mass-producible product. Think of your business as something apart from yourself, as a solution to somebody else's problem. Think of your business as anything but a job. The problem isn't your business. It never has been. The problem is you. It has always been you and will always be you. Until you change, that is. Until you change your perspective about what a business is and how one works. Building the prototype of your business is a continuous process, a business development process. Its foundation is 3 distinct yet thoroughly integrated activities through which your business can pursue its natural evolution. They are innovation, quantification, and orchestration. Innovation is often thought of as creativity. The next time you want somebody to do something for you, touch him softly on the arm as you ask him to do it. You will be amazed to find that more people will respond positively when you touch them than when you don't. Innovation continually poses the question, what is standing in the way of my customer getting what he wants from my business? For the innovation to be meaningful, it must always take the customer's point of view. By quantification, I'm talking about the numbers related to the impact an innovation makes. And it is the obvious that must be addressed by quantification at the outset of the business development process. Begin by quantifying everything related to how to do your business. Because without the numbers, you can't possibly know where you are, let alone where you're going. Orchestration is the elimination of discretion or choice at the operating level of your business. If you haven't orchestrated it, you don't own it. And if you don't own it, you can't depend on it. And if you can't depend on it, you haven't got a franchise. In short, the definition of a franchise is simply your unique way of doing business. And unless your unique way of doing business can be replicated every single time, you don't own it. Orchestration is as simple as doing what you do, saying what you say, looking like you look, being how and who you are for as long as it works, for as long as it produces the results you want. The business development process is not static. It's not something you do and then are done with. It's something you do all the time. Business development process is that which enables you to preempt the world's changes. There needs to be a set routine, because without it, there would be nothing to improve upon. And that, I believe, is the heart of the process. Not efficiency, not effectiveness, not more money, not to downsize or get lean, but to simply and finally create more life for everyone who comes into contact with the business, but most of all, for you, the person who owns it. Quality is just a word, and an empty word at that, if it doesn't include harmony, balance, passion, intention, attention. Your business development program is the vehicle through which you can create your franchise prototype. The program is composed of 7 distinct steps: your primary aim, your strategic objective, your organizational strategy, your management strategy, your people strategy, your marketing strategy, and your system strategy. What do I value most? What kind of life do I want? What do I want my life to look like, to feel like? Who do I wish to be? Your primary aim is the answer to all these questions. All you need to do is begin living your life as if it were important. All you need to do is take your life seriously, to create it intentionally, to actively make your life into the life you wish it to be. In that regard, your primary aim is the vision necessary to bring your business to life and your life to your business. It provides you with a purpose. It provides you with energy. It provides you with the grist for your day-to-day mill. Your strategic objective is a very clear statement of what your business has to ultimately do for you to achieve your primary aim. It is the vision of the finished product that is and will be your business. Your strategic objective is not a business plan. It is a product of your life plan as well as your business strategy and plan. Your life plan shapes your life and the business that is to serve it. Your business strategy and plan provide the structure within which your business is intended to operate over time to fulfill your life plan. Your business strategy and plan are also useful for marketing your business to those who are important to you, your banker, your investors, and your strategic alliances in the business community. The first standard, money. The first standard of your strategic objective is money, gross revenues. How big is your vision? How big will your company be when it's finally done? But gross revenues alone are not enough. You also have to know what your gross profits are going to be, your pre-tax profits, your after-tax profits. Creating money standards is not just strategically necessary for your business. It is strategically necessary for your life, for the realization of your primary aim. In other words, how much money do you need in order to be independent of work, to be free? In fact, there is ultimately only one reason to create a business of your own, and that is to sell it, to do it, to finish it, and then to get paid for it. The second standard, an opportunity worth pursuing. An opportunity worth pursuing is a business that can fulfill the financial standards you've created for your primary aim and your strategic objective. If it is reasonable to assume that it can, the business is worth pursuing. If it is unreasonable to assume that it can, then no matter how exciting, interesting, or appealing the business is, forget it. The commodity is the thing your customer actually walks out with in his hand. The product is what your customer feels as he walks out of your business. What he feels about your business, not what he feels about the commodity. What is he really buying when he buys from you? The truth is, nobody's interested in the commodity. People buy feelings. Most companies organize around the personalities rather than around functions. That is, around people rather than accountabilities or responsibilities. The result is almost always chaos. A position contract, as we call it at eMyth Worldwide, is a summary of the results to be achieved by each position in the company, the work the occupant of that position is accountable for, a list of standards by which the results are to be evaluated, and a line for the signature of the person who agrees to fulfill those accountabilities. Your organization chart flows down from your strategic objective, which in turn flows down from your primary aim. And that's what this whole process of organizational development is. It's the process through which you think through your business as best as you're able, and then structure the way it is to work. Your organization chart is that structure. It is you talking to your people and the world, telling them exactly how you see your business working when it's done. Management system. The system will become your management strategy, the means through which your franchise prototype produces the results you want. What is a management system? It is a system designed into your prototype to produce a marketing result. And the more automatic that system is, the more effective your franchise prototype will be. Management development, the process through which you create your management system and teach your up-and-coming managers to use it, isn't a management tool as many people believe. It's a marketing tool. You can't get your people to do anything. If you want it done, I tell them, you're going to have to create an environment in which doing it is more important to your people than not doing it, where doing it well becomes a way of life for them. How we do our work becomes a mirror of how we are inside. It is first, last, and always about how you act. The game has to be real. You have to mean it. The game is a measure of you. How you act in the game establishes how you will be regarded by the other players. As in any game, the people game has rules that must be honored if you are to become any good at it. 1. Never figure out what you want your people to do and then try to create a game out of it. 2. Never create a game for your people you're unwilling to play yourself. 3. Make sure there are specific ways of winning the game without ending it. The game can never end because the end will take the life right out of your business. But unless there are victories in the process, your people will grow weary. 4. Change the game from time to time, the tactics, not the strategy. 5. Never expect the game to be self-sustaining. People need to be reminded of it constantly. 6. The game has to make sense. 7. The game needs to be fun from time to time. Fun needs to be defined by your people. If it's fun to them, it will work, but not too often, maybe once every 6 months. 8. If you can't think of a good game, steal one. That's what a business can do. It can create a game worth playing. It can become that place of community. It can become that place where words such as integrity, intention, commitment, vision, and excellence can be used as action steps in the process of producing a worthwhile result. Your marketing strategy starts, ends, lives, and dies with your customer. So in the development of your marketing strategy, it is absolutely imperative that you forget about your dreams, forget about your visions, forget about your interests, forget about what you want, forget about everything but your customer. When it comes to marketing, what you want is unimportant. It's what your customer wants that matters. So even though your customer's conscious mind is actively absorbing all manner and forms of impressions, it is totally unaware of most of them. Fortunately, the conscious mind doesn't need to be aware. For it's not your customer's conscious mind that has to make the decisions. It's your customer's unconscious mind. Demographics and psychographics are the two essential pillars supporting a successful marketing program. If you know who your customer is, demographics, you can then determine why he buys, psychographics. And having done so, you can then begin to construct a prototype to satisfy his unconscious needs, but scientifically rather than arbitrarily. Research shows that the navy suit is perhaps the most powerful suit a person can wear in business. Instant impact. What every extraordinary business knows is that the customer you've got is one hell of a lot less expensive to sell to than the customer you don't have yet. And that's why the business process of lead generation, lead conversion, and client fulfillment is so critical to the growth of your business. And that's what marketing is, the whole process, not just a part of it, but the entire thing. A system is a set of things, actions, ideas, and information that interact with each other, and in so doing, alter other systems. In short, everything is a system. Some systems we can understand, and some we can't. There are three kinds of systems in your business: hard systems, soft systems, and information systems. Hard systems are inanimate, unliving things. Soft systems are either animate, living, or ideas. You are a soft system. So is the script for Hamlet. Information systems are those that provide us with information about the interaction between the other two. Inventory control, cash flow forecasting, and sales activity summary reports are all information systems. The innovation, quantification, orchestration, and integration of these three kinds of systems in your business is what your business development program is all about. Will applied to any conflict creates energy. Conflict without will creates frustration, an engine turning but going nowhere. Conflict with will creates resolution, a movement beyond the dilemma. After all, that's the purpose of a system, to free you to do the things you want to do. That your primary aim and your strategic objective and your organizational strategy and your management strategy and your people strategy and your marketing strategy and your system strategy, all of them are totally interdependent rather than independent of one another. That the success of your business development program totally depends on your appreciation of that integration, and that your prototype is that integration. What we care about, we value. And so, as I look around, I see that we are in some very fundamental way disconnected from caring sufficiently to be able to find true meaning in the things that we do. But I think that the things we have come to care about are insignificant when placed on the scale. How does one come to the point in his or her life when he or she is not only ready but eager and willing, however terrifying the prospect might be, to self-execute such a leap of faith without any guarantees that it will do any good? I know that my spirit is waiting out there in front of me on one of any number of 1,000 paths, and that it's up to me to choose that one path on which my spirit waits, and to step out on it brightly, without hesitation, to pursue the I, which is the greatest one I can possibly be. To be spiritful, that is spiritual. That is to be in touch with my soul, and there, in our spirit, is where meaning lies. Comfort overtakes us all when we're least prepared for it. Comfort makes cowards of us all. No, we can't change the world out there. Unfortunately, we don't have to. We can begin much closer to home. We can begin in here. In fact, if we're to succeed, we must. Because the chaos isn't out there in everyone else. It's not out there in the world. The chaos is in here, in you and me. The world's not the problem. You and I are. The world's not in chaos. We are. The world's apparent chaos is only a reflection of our own inner turmoil. So if the world is going to be changed, we must first change our lives. A small business is a place that responds instantly to any action we take. A place where we can practice implementing ideas in a way that changes lives. A place where we can begin to test all of the assumptions we have about ourselves. It is a place where questions are at least as important as answers, if not more so. It is a place where generalizations must give way to specifics. It is a place that demands our attention, a place where rules must be followed and order preserved. A place that is practical, not idealistic, but a place where idealism must be present for the practical to serve. It is a place where the world is reduced to manageable size. small enough to be responsive, but big enough to test everything we have. A true practice hall, a world of our own. Innovation, quantification, and orchestration provide the belief system of our business, the philosophical bedrock of our interaction with the world. They become our source for learning, for creating, for expanding beyond our self-imposed limits. And through innovation, quantification, and orchestration, our business can become something more than merely a place to go to work. It can become a place that satisfies more of ourselves than just the technician. There is a place in business development for the whole of ourselves, for the innovator, for the maintainer, for the doer, for the entrepreneur, the manager, and the technician in each one of us. Your small business and mine can give us more life. And what you'll discover when you look at your business through your e-myth eyes is that the gap is always created by the absence of systems, the absence of a proprietary way of doing business that successfully differentiates your business from everyone else's.